So if I have to summarize, Comply will become the quality agent or assistant for our customers in a way that as soon as the artwork is created, everything is checked. Hello everyone. In this episode, we are going to talk about ESCO's AI-led innovation. I'm Ankit, one of the product directors at ESCO. Been in the packaging space for around 8 to 10 years, supply chain products, collaboration products. And today we have Rakesh with us. Rakesh is the product manager for Comply. So Rakesh, I'll let him introduce himself.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Rakesh. I'm the product manager for Comply. I've been in the tech space for the last 20 years. Have been in the artwork and the label compliance space for the last 4 years.
So Rakesh, when we think about compliance, right, primarily label compliance, where have you seen problems arising from brands? Where have you seen examples where due to compliance on label, brands have seen things go wrong or consumers have seen things go wrong?
So one of the things that we have noticed in the last 4 years, and we've been really lucky to work with some very large brands, some of the mid-market customers, etc. One of the big problem statements that we see in this industry is two things. One is you have an artwork, you're launching hundreds or thousands of artwork as a large customer, as a large brand. The time that your reviewers take to make sure that the artwork is compliant is really, really high. And it is not usually bad intent. It is usually the complexity of the process, the number of artworks that need to be approved, the number of teams which are involved in this that actually take up this time. The second is the risk associated with even a single error. If you, let's say, miss an allergen or miss an ingredient in the artwork, you could end up in a case where you spend a lot of money, there is recall happening, there is brand trust going down the drain, etc. So these are large problem statements that we see, especially in the compliance area, in terms of how teams deal with it, what are the things that they do manually to control this, etc.
One of the things I've also seen is the cost for a recall is usually not just financial, right?
Yeah.
We've seen examples of large brands having product recalls worth millions of dollars. Like a butter recall for one of the very large retailers. There have been recalls
I
and
remember this.
chips on, people forgot to declare something. And then obviously it has a large impact on consumers and there is a large financial impact on the brand. But there is a reputational cost to the brand as well. Right? Just the consumer's perception of that brand's reputation goes down. And example that I've seen, just the Cadbury purple, right? And color correctly. But if the purple is a little shade here or there, you pick up that chocolate, 100% sure you're not going to think it's a Cadbury chocolate.
True.
And some of these things on labels can go a long way, not just from a compliance perspective, but from the brand trust. Anything that you've seen in your experience till now?
Very true. And I remember this supermarket, the global US or the large supermarket chain in US where this happened. It was a big news. One, yes, there is a big impact for the brand in terms of financial impact. Two, the trust. Not very easy for someone to walk into again that chain and then think that, okay, I can just pick this up without worrying about the ingredient or the allergen part. Three is, I think, what probably we do not talk about a lot is also there is an impact on the actual customer. So if I'm the reviewer and I spent some time with a very large brand in a similar space last week, it was very interesting to note that when the reviewers look at the artwork, I asked them, okay, what do you check for? And one of the things that one person they mentioned is there is an impact on the actual end consumer here. Like if I miss an allergen and if it creates a problem for one consumer, that's on my conscience. So which is very interesting to see. I mean, at a very large scale of someone approving, let's say 100 artwork or 1,000 artwork a month, it is very difficult to imagine how people manually scale this. But at the end of the day, this is a problem.
No, I think one interesting statistics or something that I heard is that even today, with all of the brands being very conscious about the labels they put out in the market, manually reviewing 1 out of 3 times they miss something. That something could be print related, that
Yeah.
something could be color related. But when it's something related to an ingredient or an allergen or a declaration,
Yeah.
that has the human impact that you just talked about.
Very true. And I think this is also internal statistics we saw from our artwork management systems. We do see when there are errors, a large part of the errors actually come from content issues itself. And these are not smaller or very small brands which are doing things completely manual. Many of these are coming from very established brands who use very good process, have very good process in place, have systems in place, but still have to do a lot of things manually because technology or AI hasn't reached that stage yet or till now to help them in this.
That's a good cue for me to maybe introduce now and say that technology has reached there and talk about ESCO's AI-led innovations and the product that at least I'm very excited about, Comply.
Yeah.
Comply is, as you already know, is a product for AI-led compliance for brands. Can you talk a little bit about Comply and how does it help brands, and how does Comply really create that impact for brands, and how does it work?
With Comply, the way we've designed the product is that if you think about the entire things which is happening from the artwork, there is an extraction of content that we do. There's an interpretation of content that we do. And then there is an evaluation, whether the content is actually correct or not. So we've used AI in a way that our extraction and interpretation, there's a lot of AI that we use. We understand the structure of packaging content very well, etc. But for evaluation, we have also used a rule-based framework. And it is because we want to ensure that if I'm a regulatory person, I'm not looking at an AI system giving me a warning saying that this could be a problem. Like what I really want is someone telling me that there is a problem here and this is where you need to zoom into. So I need very high confidence when someone is helping me evaluate that artwork. And the whole Comply system is designed in a way that we can really help regulatory people or regulatory teams and brand compliance teams make sure that when we give a statement to them, it is very, very or very high in confidence.
I think important point that you said. You talked about rule-based, framework. Today we are in that era of generative AI, LLMs, all of these super awesome AI.
Yeah.
But most of it is not always deterministic. And what I hear you say is, and which is what I think we've been, speaking about as well, that building deterministic AI on which brands and large brands can rely on and really use to take decisions is very important, and that's what Comply also helps them do.
Correct. Yeah.
And on the other side of things, why does Comply from ESCO, I also feel is a value proposition, because with ESCO's deep packaging knowledge, deep understanding of the packaging structure, content, deep understanding of how packaging rolls into the value chain of a customer, amount of let's say knowledge that ESCO brings in is built into Comply, and that's how customers trust it as well. Anything that you would want to add on that?
Absolutely. And I think, yes, goes back to how Comply has evolved in the last 1 year as well, which is the whole packaging domain understanding which ESCO has from the last 30 or 40 years has been brought into Comply in the last 1 year. And that really helps us to understand how a artwork is structured or a packaging is structured, and then really extract relevant information, take multiple, let's say, components together, compare them together. All of this can be possible only with probably an AI which have deep understanding of how a packaging really is structured. And again, you did mention generic LLMs, and I know that you had written an article about this as well. But very interesting to again see this. Like when we started this, some of us also looked at comparing, okay, what can let's say a ChatGPT do compared to what a Comply can do. And you would see that, and this is a conversation which happens with a lot of our customers as well, because it's very natural for us to think that at least some of the review teams would have used some of these LLMs to check. And the biggest difference again is probabilistic versus deterministic.
Yep.
If you put the same artwork on ChatGPT 5 times from 5 different regions, you would probably get 3 different results. versus Comply would always give you the exact deterministic result with confidence score saying that this is what I found here.
Makes sense. And from a Comply perspective, right now we've started working with customers. We've had quite a few customers case studies as well. If I were to quantify the impact of Comply, how would you describe it? Where would you, in all of which areas would you say Comply has helped customers improve?
Two large areas, and again, this is based on Comply that's been in the mid-market for some time now, and some of the very large established brands of ESCO starting to use Comply and giving us feedback. Two very large areas where I see us getting very positive feedback. One is the time that is taken, multiple teams being involved, and in each team, different people looking at different parts of the artwork. Now, Comply can automate a lot of that and be your assistant and really tell you that even before you open an artwork, it can tell you this artwork has 5 problems and these are the 5 problems that you zoom into. So if I was a reviewer spending, let's say, 1 hour on an artwork every day, I would probably need to spend maybe less than 10 minutes from now. That's one large impact. Second one is errors. We did see this with, again, some of our large customers, some POC that we did, where we realized that some of the artwork which is actually in the market, in production, did have errors which Comply could find out, which their manual reviewers could not find out before it went into the market. So that's again, depending on the what is missed, the impact could be varied, but what it can really do is not just accelerate the time spent or time to market, but also really reduce the risk of errors without reducing the quality of inspection that happens.
Makes sense. So if I have to sort of summarize, Comply does create 60 to 70% reduction in the time that people spent in reviewing these artworks. Yeah. It reduces the review time to at least 60 to 70%. And that in itself accelerates the GTM for a brand. Right? If you automate, and today we've seen statistics where large brands, lots of teams, it does take a long time before once a label is launched for it to be in the market. So it does automate a lot of processes in between and reduce that. But more than that, it does impact the human cost as well as the financial cost that we talked about of errors.
Yeah.
Comply does become your assistant to help you reduce or catch any errors upfront without them having to reach the market and create any impact. I also want to, maybe bring the human cost again. That at the end of the day, Comply can act as a platform to prevent consumers from accidentally consuming anything which they're not aware of.
True.
And which is a huge problem in the allergies are increasing in the entire world. It is a huge problem. And that's something that Comply's mission is in the long run as well. I also wanted to talk about where Comply is going right now. As a product, it's now in the market. Yeah. It's launched. We are taking it forward, but it will keep improving. It will keep becoming better and better. Any directional sense of where you think it will be in some time, and where can users try it? What can people do with it?
So what we're doing with Comply now is really positioning it for some of our, let's say, the large established brands who are using our products Web Center, and for the mid-market using Web Center Go, and helping the review process be faster and more accurate. Today, we look at this in the form of content checks. A large part of things which are happening is the actual content which was supposed to be on the artwork, is it there? Is what Comply is telling you. Now that content is across text, can be images, can be barcode, non-human readable content, all of that. But where we are taking this forward is we are positioning Comply also as a complete quality assistant, which means that one of the very exciting things which is coming very soon is the regulatory intelligence, meaning if you have an artwork and if that artwork is, let's say, or if this packaging is getting launched in US, and if it is, let's say, a beverage product, we would be able to tell you in US, based on the regulatory framework which is there, let's say FDA or some of the other regulatory frameworks, we would be able to tell you that this packaging content needs to be altered like this, or this content needs to change, or let's say even a table format could be different. Now, all of those could be done automatically without a lot of input from the user, which is a really big advantage that we bring in. The second part is also a print quality checks. So in the artwork, it is not just always about, okay, is the content right? Is the format of the content right? Is it following all regulations? But it's also about, can this be printed really well? And in 2026, what we're looking forward to is Comply being your complete quality assistant. It can tell you, is content missing? It can tell you, is this matching the regulation where you are launching this artwork, this product? And it can tell you whether this is print ready. Like, should something change in this artwork?
Makes sense. So if I have to summarize, Comply will become the quality agent or assistant for our customers in a way that as soon as the artwork is created, everything is checked. And so ideally, down the years, the review cycle should become so small that you don't need to review. You will always need a human in loop. Yes, you will always need somebody reviewing the artwork before it goes into the market. But it will be an assistant to automatically show errors as soon as the artwork is created.
Absolutely. And this again goes back to the conversation which we have had with some of our large brands. They're also altering in some of the cases, we have seen them altering their workflows to say, when I get an artwork from an agency, I want Comply to check it first. If there are errors, I want the artwork to go back to the agency. And I want my team to look at this only if there are no errors from Comply. So it can really reduce the number of cycles which come in, and also reduce the time that your team is spending on this.
So Rakesh, what about customers who want to try Comply or want to really get to know what Comply can do for them specifically? Where do they go? How do they find us? How do they get in touch with us to try out Comply?
So all information about Comply is available on the Esco website. Comply is now launched with Web Center and Web Center Go. So if you're a large brand or a supplier who's using Web Center or who wants to use Web Center, you can take Web Center, you can take Comply on top of it. Or if you're a mid-market brand who's wants to use an AMS, you can take Web Center Go, you can use Comply there. Today, our focus has largely been on the CPG side so far, on the CPG brands and the supplier side. In 2026, we are also going ahead with life science customers. Our focus is also on how do we get life science customers also see the benefit of Comply.
Makes sense. And any, from an industry standpoint, do you see any, you said CPG, suppliers, pharma, there's a large, obviously pharmaceutical companies have the largest burden of regulation or compliance.
True.
That's where the impact will probably be the largest.
True.
But is there something specific we're doing to get them in, or Comply is already available and we're trying to make sure that it becomes available for life sciences customers?
Comply is already available. The capability exists. In terms of our focus, our focus last year or this year, 2025, has been on the CPG space and now the supply space, but life sciences coming very, very soon. So some of the capabilities that we have in Comply, it's more about packaging it for life science needs. But I don't think we need to build a lot of things or do something which is dramatically different from what we have done so far.
Anyway, thank you so much, Rakesh. It was a really insightful conversation. Hopefully, all of you guys also felt the same, that me and Rakesh were able to give you a little bit more insight into what Comply is, how customers are using it, what impact it can create, and what is the cost of compliance for a brand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.